There's a wound in the world, and it's bleeding. Most people just accept it as the way things are, but some follow the blood back to its source. A shifting gothic castle, an unholy Grail, and a Regent waiting to fall. You could save this world, but someone must take their place. Are you willing to pay the price? This is Rhapsody of Blood.
Every day, dice roll, quick adventure calls, walking through tabletops, golden halls. Masters of pen and paper, RPGs of every flavor, talking about different creators. The choice of games is never greater. Come with us to games they run through, new, old, and interesting.
Welcome in Masters of Pen and Paper, episode 38. You got me, your main host, Finny, and the other main host, my man,
DG. How is it going, everybody? Happy new episode day. We have... so we thought this one was going to be a short one, right? Because this was a 64-page TTRPG. So we're like, oh man, this one's we might have to stretch this out a little bit because it's a shorter book. But Rhapsody of Blood coming in at 64 pages packs a lot of information in between those covers.
We were quite mistaken.
We were mistaken. There's a lot going on in this book. And
a lot.
I mean, on the scale of lasers and feelings to,
like Call
of Cthulhu.
Or something, yeah.
This one's kind of on the lighter side still.
It is.
But,
it is. Yeah.
All things considered, pretty decent game, and running on the Apocalypse system, which we have touched on before. With Monster of the Week, and I believe that was episode 22. So
episode 22.
It
was
very cool. And you were saying that this game was created by a scientist.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So written by one Minerva McJanda. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not from across
Minerva.
the pond, so
that's a power name. I love it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. She is a scientist. She started a publishing company in 2017 called UFO Press Publication.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2018 released Rhapsody of Blood. Fast forward to 2021, her company gets absorbed into Rowan, Rook, and Descartes. Yes, that is right, folks. The same wonderful people that brought us Goblin Quest, among others.
That was the one we just did.
That is, right?
The TTRPG world is tiny.
I did not come into this thinking I would have a connection to the last
episode
we had.
It's always so cool how it works out, but literally, I don't mean that jokingly. The TTRPG world is tiny. All of these games are worked on by all of these people, which is good, and it's a bit of a statement to the community too that everybody's willing to pitch in and help each other out. So I'm sure some money, transfers back and forth. There's probably good reasons why, but with that being said, it is really cool that it's connected to Goblin Quest, which is really slick.
She does stay on with Rowan, Rook, and Descartes as a writer for the team now.
Nice.
She's in charge of not only writing of Rhapsody of Blood, but also with the layout. She is a graphical layout person. I don't know what you call those people. I'm not that people.
Graphic designer?
Graphic designer. That sounds like a good idea.
Love it. Well, not the designer.
It's more the layout. So she takes the fonts and makes them nice and the borderings.
She's what we would call the head honcho.
Yeah. She's in charge.
She's in charge. The graphics in charge person.
Which she has had a hand in with all of the UFO games because she was basically the only worker for UFO.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah, she also is well known for a game called Legacy. Now, I have yet to dip the old toesies in that. But that'll be coming someday.
I was going to say a game that you don't already have. This is interesting.
Yeah, there are
There's a couple
lot of
out there.
games out there. By the way, she does and we love this about what was his name? I believe he worked for them as well. He had the whole bunch of one-page RPGs. She has a whole bunch of one-page RPGs as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, very cool. The artwork in Rhapsody of Blood is done by one Adrian Stone. If you haven't, you should give him a quick Google. Now, Adrian Stone, artist, because otherwise you get the Hulu something character from a show. Okay. And that is not the right Adrian Stone.
Popular name. Add TTRPG to it.
There we go. Yeah, he's a graphical artist. He does UIs and stuff. Nice. But his artwork is pretty standouty. Okay. It looks good. The setting of Rhapsody of Blood is a transdimensional gothic castle? Question mark.
That's not going to mean a lot to you right now. Don't worry.
Stay with us.
Stay with us. Stick through it.
It'll get slightly less murky as we get through.
If you're familiar with the concept of Dracula's castle in Castlevania or the Castlevania anime, that's kind of what's going on here. Not exactly, right? It's not one-to-one, but the concept of this castle can appear, stuff can happen, and then the castle can disappear. That's kind of what's going on. And Gothic meaning this style, that oldie style, the spires and the many bridges and things like that.
We're also kind of in the Gothic age of architecture here as well. Yeah. Being, I don't know.
Think Dracula. Honestly, like that's what we're talking about.
It's hard because of the way this game runs. Yeah. You can't pin it down to a certain
because it's still fantasy-esque, right? Yeah. It's not high fantasy, it's Gothic fantasy. No. So we're talking about like that type.
Yeah. Self-described as a Gothic action RPG, we play as explorers, those born of a certain bloodline that can recognize and feel compelled to enter the castle when it appears once per generation. You heard that right, folks. Once per generation. We are playing a generation game, not just a single game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because the castle's going to show up. We're going to do something and deal with it or not deal with it. And then it's going to go away, and then it'll come back one day.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then
we're the Belmonts.
Yeah. That's right. That's enough.
That's the gist. That's the gist of it, right? We're going to get into the guts of the game, but just kind of wrap your head around the concept of Gothic Castle appears, stuff happens, we deal with it, and then it goes away. And then years pass, and the cycle repeats itself.
Yeah, it's essentially the Castlevania TTRPG.
I love that that's there. Now, I don't believe that was the intention here.
No, it is not.
And I don't mean to make it sound like this is Castlevania, but it's, to me, that's where I find my pop culture reference here.
If we had to draw a line, that would be the closest thing to draw a line to.
Yeah, it's in the chart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So, it's time for us to jump into this, Finney. So I mentioned earlier this game is part of the Apocalypse base system.
Yeah, powered by the Apocalypse. Now, we know it and covered it in episode 22, like we said. That was our Monster of the Week episode. So head back there if you want a more in-depth dive into the Apocalypse engine, because we're going to hit some high notes here, and
we'll touch the basics so that you know what's going on, but we're not going to go super in depth about it.
So essentially, Powered by the Apocalypse uses 2d6 that the players roll and add a stat modifier to the result. These stat modifiers are anywhere from a -1 to a +3. That is as far as I know, because I have not actually played this game. But from reading through it, it seems to be this a -1 or a +3 is as high as you can get.
And I mean, your mileage may vary. It's up to your GM, to be perfectly honest. If your GM wants to make it incredibly difficult, they're going to do that. So
Because once you have paid for this game is yours, and you can do whatever the heck
That's
you feel
right.
like
Your fun
with
is
it.
valid. You do
Yeah,
you.
you can break it and bend it and do whatever you want with it. Advantage, disadvantage comes in the form of rolling 3d6 and taking the 2 highest for the advantage or the 2 lowest for disadvantage. That's about all you need to know about the Apocalypse engine, honestly. Again, if you want a deeper dive into it, please go back to episode 22. We covered it a little better in there. There's not a lot to this engine.
No, it's
really.
it's pretty straightforward. We're on the D6s again, right? We're not using RPG dice in this game, so
Yeah. I will state that the Apocalypse engine does lend itself to narrative forward games. We are focused on telling stories.
Story-driven
here, not
narrative, like
rolling
usual.
dice. Yeah. We're not doing a whole bunch of math because that's not what we do.
that's for the D&D games.
That's for the D&D and Pathfinder
Yeah,
games.
we're here
You guys stay over
to
there.
tell stories, not to
We're here in Storiesville,
not to do
not
math.
Crunchville. We do have a clock system in place with our Regent. They are basically trying to cast a ritual, and this is counting down time until that ritual comes to a conclusion. Now, so that gives you a little bit of, time pressure behind you to get things done in a timely manner.
Yeah. And we have done the clock marking and tracking before,
done
not necessarily just
multiple
in Apocalypse, but it's also been in a couple of the other systems too.
Yeah.
The clock system
Because
exists.
it's handy.
It simply exists, especially in these story-driven games. It exists to keep the game moving, right? So that we're not stopped and stuck in one spot forever. We're not dawdling. We do need to deal with the problems at hand. And so it marks the progress, or it marks off something happened that's going to maybe negatively affect, right? So we're getting closer to the Regent making good on their deal.
Yeah. It does also give the players just a little notice that, hey, at times it's ticking.
Something's happening. You better get in there.
You're looking at that pie chart and you're going, oh, that's getting pretty close to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's like we were going to take a 14th rest, but maybe we should hold off on that one.
Maybe we shouldn't. The game starts us off with playing through the first emergence of the castle as the founders of our bloodlines. Now, it starts us at the door to the Regent's sanctuary. That's right. We kick off with a fight.
Literally in the beginning.
I love it.
Yeah, we're playing one of those video games where we're about to fight the end boss for the very first part of the game. And it's probably
only this time we might not get our behinds handed to us.
We have a chance to win, but
maybe. Now, the founders do have their own. There's a list of 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember exactly. They have like a little stat block with their weapon and little tidbits in them to help you play them, and you just play them. And depending, there's 2 outcomes for this scenario. A, the founders defeat the Regent and win, or B, the Regent defeats the founders, but they escape with their lives because, hey, if they didn't, there would be no bloodline.
It'd be a very short game. It'd be an incredibly short game. Yeah, think the ancient heroes of old, right? These are the founders are the ones that kind of set the tone for
the first ones.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, it would be a really short game if they lost and died. But hey, you know what? You could also make it that they lost and died, and you're the ones coming up to avenge them. It's your game. You do what you want.
Yeah.
But based on the rules, your founders need to survive in order to provide offspring.
Yeah. So kind of what it is the bloodline, the founders, some of the contamination from the castle kind of seeps into their blood, and they pass that on through the rest of their offspring, that all of a sudden now anytime the castle pops up, the bloodline is drawn to it.
Yeah, they have a yearning to get in there and deal with it.
Yeah, and it helps protect them from the castle as well.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, the castle is constantly changing and shifting, a dreamlike chaos. So they being the game, don't want you to map out everything. Instead, you just have a tracking between the wards and the castle. The wards and the sanctuary of the castle. It's the wards are kind of outlying areas around it. I believe you need to do certain. You have to meet
3
certain
or
criteria.
4, and we'll get into a little bit more of the details on that.
And the regent, the big boss man, lives in the center of it.
Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of for anybody who watches Demon Slayer, this is your Infinity Castle. Things are constantly shifting and changing in this space. Nothing is the same, and all things exist.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be castle.
No.
Right? Like the example of play in the book is a really good one because it's not a castle. Their ward isn't in a castle. Yeah. It's just in a city of London, right? It's like a building. And it's all wonky and weird. And it was a very good read, actually. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
After that, we come to our favorite part. Character creation. Whoop, whoop.
And the characters in this game are known as explorers.
Yeah. So we're not player characters. We're explorers.
We're going to create some explorers here.
So first up, we pick an explorer playbook.
Yep. That's your class.
It's our class, basically. Kind of.
Sort of. Asterisks. With it, there's an asterisk there, but that's the gist of it. This game's versions of classes are kind of like the playbooks.
Yeah. Now, I forget how many there are. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them. But they outline on a single page the stat arrangement. So there is a +1 there, here, a -1 there, and a 0 somewhere else, as well as mix and matches. Some aspects of that class, like traditions and what your refuge looks like, what drives you, how do you go about breaching the castle, kind of all sorts of things. And there's lists, and it encourages you to either pick some or write your own. These are not hard lists. Any of these lists, they're always guiding lists. So if you feel like I don't really fit into any of these slots, something else, write it in there.
Yeah.
Once we pick our explorer, we get to customize them slightly by adding a single point to any stat of your choice.
You're nice. Customized, but not heavily.
So, I mean, do we bump that 1 to a 2? Do we take that negative to a 0? Do we put that 0 to a 1? It's your character, so you do as you please.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to lean into the type of character you want to play, right? If you want to play a sneaky kind of guy, you're going to want to boost some form of like the sneaky type of skills.
Yeah.
Right? And the same thing goes for the attacking ones, for the magic ones, whatever it is that you decided to choose. You're going to want to lean into that a little bit because obviously your playbook is going to be geared to the type of explorer that you're playing. So
if you're doing the fighter, you probably don't need to up your wands stat at all.
You can, but you're probably not going to get a lot of use out of it.
No, probably not. Speaking of, now this is a bit confusing because bloodlines and explorers each have a different set of stats. Now, we choose a bloodline before we choose an explorer. I don't know. It didn't really say. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's the way I kind of took it as, right? The concept is the bloodline is your family.
I'm wondering if you pick your bloodline with the founders. And you stick with that bloodline all the way through the game. There's no changing bloodlines.
I don't think so. I mean, the way that I kind of looked at this was the bloodline is your race and the explorer is your class. So the bloodline would be your family. This is your heritage. This is what you've trained your entire life in. And then the explorers is the personal choices, the character choices that you made as you went through the way. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I don't think you need to pick one and then the other. I think you could look through the playbooks, choose a playbook, and then attach your bloodline to it. But obviously, again, keep in mind, if you're making an attack type of person, you're going to want to make sure that your bloodline matches the type of character you have so that you don't end up with a kind of middle to low end type character.
With a fighter, explorer, and a caster.
Yeah, it's just, you look through them, but I mean, it's all part of the same book, basically. But the way that I kind of looked at it, the bloodline is your class, or sorry, the bloodline is your race, and the playbook, the explorers themselves are the classes.
Back to it. So each of them has a different set of stats. Now, bloodlines have 4 primary stats. This is Chalice, their ability to provide aid to the characters and let them rest and heal.
Healers.
Swords, their ability to project force into the castle and claim forward bases.
Fighters.
We will get to bases, don't worry. Coins, their ability to influence institutions and draw resources from them. These are your
Charismatic
rogues.
folks.
Yeah. Wands, their ability to push back against occult workings of the Regent, your casters.
Magic people.
Yeah. And as an added bonus, bloodlines also collect relics, objects imbued with the castle's power that can fetch either a high price if you want to take them back out with you, or can be used in grand rituals and other things.
Magic items.
Also, they have pacts with other bloodlines. These are ancient agreements that bind bloodlines together. Each bloodline has a particular action that they reward with pacts, and things that pacts can be cashed in for after such and such criteria is met.
Yeah. This is inherited bonuses and traits and stuff, right? So you can see the makeup of like different TTRPGs and how they fit into here. But I like the way that they did it. It's a really cool concept.
It feels fresh and different.
It's nice.
It does. Now, explorers, on the other hand, have 5 stats in their makeup. We have Iron, and this is your will and ability to fight and kill. While exploring, we use it to fight hordes. When fighting a boss, we use it to take advantage of an opening and strike them for damage.
Strength stuff.
Strength stuff. Glass, next up, is your ability to stay sane and clear-eyed while exploring. This is used to find your way through the castle as well as assessing your surroundings. When fighting a powerful adversary, use it to spot openings and help you and your allies to exploit them. I will say, this is
your brains
ish.
It's like a little. It's mostly wisdom with a little bit of intelligence.
Yeah, a little bit perception, a little bit of intelligence. Yeah. When I say openings are the only way that you get to strike the enemy. Yeah. And we'll get into it when we get into the battling.
You got to break their guard. That's kind of the concept, right?
Basically, you can't just hack at them because that doesn't work all the time. Next up, we have Sulfur, your ability to tap into the occult power. During exploration, you use it to learn magic from the castle's relics. When fighting, we use it to pull allies from danger. Boopy stuff. I don't really know what this is.
It's magic-y.
It's one of your casting.
It's using magic-y stuff, right? Yeah. It's the closest thing that's in there.
Yeah. Lastly, we have
Second lastly,
we have Mercury, your ability to be stealthy and graceful. When exploring, we use it to find safe refuge and rest. When fighting, we use it to dodge and use trickery and guile to create openings.
Dexterity.
Yeah, sneaky
boys.
Last, I promise. This is the fifth. We have Blood. This tracks how corrupted your explorer is due to the castle's power. This increases, and as it increases, you unlock improved stats and strange gifts, but get corrupted too much and you risk falling under the sway of the Regent and become one of their acolytes. That's right. You, the player, can become a bad guy.
You can become enthralled. This would be kind of like your experience path, the growths that you have, sort of. But it's more gamified into
it's almost
risk versus
like
reward.
Sanity. Yeah.
The more you tap into it, the more likely it is you'll be corrupted. So you need to make sure you're balancing it.
Yeah. After that, we get our stats all sorted out. We go for our looks. Now, this is wide open. We're talking gender, racial background, everything and anything you can think of that will set your character apart from everyone else. There are a few.
With some examples in there.
lists. Yeah. But it's wide open for you.
Yeah,
to make
this is where you visualize your character and just put down what they are. What do they look like? What are they made up of?
This is the portrait doodle you make and done.
Yeah. I do miss the goblin shapes from Goblin Quest, but I guess I'll take it.
Third ear, extra eye. We do need something that motivates our character. What pulls us into the life of a castle delve. We use this to add some depth to our bloodline's current drive, or a personal quest that we are seeking out, like a long lost brother or something that has been, or I don't know, a long lost relative that has been sucked into the castle or something.
Yeah, why are you here, right? I mean, there's the call of your bloodline to the castle, but obviously there's some kind of goal that you've got to identify. And to me, I would open this one up to the table to the rest of the group, because maybe we have a group thing that we're working through. So
I would say that this is really good group exercises 100%. Anyway to do, right? After that, we have covenants. Now, covenants, they're the things, these bonds that you've formed with other we'll get into these real deep in a hot minute, because they can get pretty specific on how they are strengthened and how they can be broken, and how that affects it. After we do the covenants, we grab our gear, either by building a custom weapon using one perk and one flaw from the weapon table, or we can pick one. Now there's a page on page 18 has the list of flaws, and I think on page 17 has a list of weapons.
And I believe I had put a note in a little bit further down here talking about the details of the weapons a little bit.
We will get into that.
It sounds complicated. It is not. It is simple.
It's not. It's actually one of the more simple things of this game. Lastly, we pick moves. Now, these are tricks that your explorer will use on their journey. These are given in the playbook, and you get a choice. I think you get a choice of 2, and there's like 4 or 5 of them to choose from. With that, we're done. We're ready to delve in the castle and survive and kill the Regent.
Save the world, and definitely not get turned into a thrall.
That's right, because ain't nobody like a thrall.
And
that's.
Finny, we've just created a bunch of explorers. What do these explorers do?
Well, as per the name, you'd think they would explore the castle. Well, they don't. They fight their way through hordes of enemies to destroy people.
They don't. They're not in there just kind of, on a tour. No.
Each generation starts with a party of explorers invading the castle through a breach found in the castle creation. Now, this is also part of the bloodline. It shows you how you breach the castle. As the party delves into the castle's exploration moves, a chart its twisting layout, because this, again, is not just a castle with hallways that you go down. It is shifting and changing and full of traps and pitfalls and minions and all sorts of stuff. Now you learn not just survive, but turn the castle's strengths against its reagents, or the Regent, not the reagent.
It's we're not making a chemical concoction here, but the Regent, And so we did go through the moves lightly. The basic way it works, right? And this is getting into the apocalypse system. We roll 2d6, so this is standard, like so far. Everything else is the same. And we're looking for a total of 7 or higher. In some cases, there are bonuses. So it's like if you roll a 7, this happens. You roll 7 to 9, this happens. If you roll a 10 higher, this happens. If you roll a 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever it is, these things happen, kind of thing. So depending on the move will depend on what it is that takes place. And you'll find that out as we kind of go through some of these other ones here. But there's a lot of these moves. There's quite a few.
There's a lot.
And we didn't go into full detail with it, but we did put, because this does make up a good portion of the game.
On the bigger major ones, we did get a little more in depth, but some of them were just glossing over because they're self-explanatory.
Settle in, because here we go.
Yeah. So first off, we have Travel the Labyrinth. Now, this is when you attempt to navigate the castle. You roll 2d6 plus your blood stat. You may choose to take a mark of contamination to roll with advantage. Now, remember, when we roll with when we mark off contamination, this will affect our blood stat. If our blood stat gets too high, we become thralls of the castle. So we want to use this sparingly, but also I think you get 3 contaminations before your blood spikes 1 stat. And if it gets up to 5, I think you
can clear contamination too. There's ways to do that.
You can, yes.
We'll get into it, but just so you know.
Next up, we have Face the Horde. So when you assault a group of castle denizens, roll 2d6 plus iron. On a hit of 7+, you say how you tear through them, but on a 7 to 9, you choose 2 detriments. On a 10+, you choose 1 detriment. So these detriments, because this is a major one, they hit back, you suffer harm, you get some on you, so you mark contamination. You end up in a risky position. Ooh, risque. Or there are more denizens coming your way. Now you pick these. The GM does not pick these. I will say the GM does not roll a dice in this game. With the apocalypse system,
the players are in control
GM
of their
does
fate.
Not roll. Yeah, that's what I really like about this.
Which is great.
It is. It's because the GM has a lot of work
especially
to do
with
here.
story-based games too. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I like the concept of like different rolls. If you roll 10+, you only have to pick one thing from this list, but you're gonna clear the group out, but something's gonna happen to you too. So
something's
careful,
gonna happen
right?
to you.
may want to consider ways
exactly.
to get around the fight instead of charging head through every single time, kind of thing.
Yeah. Speaking of, we have Flow Like Water. When you take a risk to change your environment or your position in it, you're going to roll 2d6 plus your mercury stat, and then if you hit, which is a 7 or plus again, you're going to pick from the following list. You're somewhere you need to be. Another explorer has a clear path to you. A particular threat isn't a problem anymore. Note, on a 7 to 9, the GM is going to give your action a cost. So it's either harm, contamination, or lost gear. So choose wise. Next up, we have See Clear. When you try to read the dangerous situation, you'll roll with glass. On a hit, you ask the GM a question and get an advantage on acting on the answer of that question. If you roll a 7 to 9, you can ask 1 question. On a 10+, you can ask 3 questions. If you miss, though, so this is a 6 or lower, you can ask, but it does not mean the GM's going to tell you anything worth
Or something
anything.
bad's going to happen, right? Yeah, I think the book said be prepared for the worst or something like that. So.
Yeah, so take that however you will.
So maybe the question, you ask a question, but the answer is not a good answer to receive, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah. Next up, we have Drink Deep. You draw on the power of a potent item or ritual site. You'll roll with sulfur. And if you hit, you'll mark a contamination and you'll learn a spell. Spells are cool. The GM tells you what it does, and you'll pick from a list that you can cast it, and you'll either mark contamination or forget the spell and take harm. Yeah, cool. If you roll if you roll 10+, you don't need to pick one of those on your first cast. You just get to cast it. Lastly, we have Shelter. This is when you look for a safe place to recover. You'll roll with Mercury, and if you hit, each character or each explorer can pick one from a list of healing, getting advantage, using a shelter move, or gaining aid from a contact. If you roll a 7 to 9, you'll advance Jin's clock. So
lots of stuff.
Try and hit that 10.
And I mean, and these moves are basically how you progress through the game, right? This is your actions in this game.
This is how we move through the castle. This is not used during fighting at all. Even the face the horde is,
because that's the concept. Is you're basically
you're just breaking through the wall
of bad guys and getting out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, use these things sparingly and strategically, because wrong moves here cost you resources. And
resources are hard
and it could lead to you getting hurt, which takes the form of harm and wounds. We kind of mentioned that a little bit in the moveset there. And you've got on your character markers for harm from 1 to 5. And when you mark that 5th one off, you are on the verge of death and you're going down. This is a problem.
Yeah, this is
and so you'll make a choice between expending the last of your energy, triggering your playbook's death move and die. So this is your Blaze of Glory type move. Or you'll collapse unconscious until the current danger is over. Then you can heal all the harm, but you'll mark the deadly wound box. And as long as that box is marked, you cannot take actions until another explorer is assisting you. So, unless another explorer is assisting you. And then you've got to deal with this.
Unless another explorer's got you on over their shoulder,
you're in trouble. So harm is no joke. You're definitely going to want to keep that in mind. But wounds, Finney, wounds are even worse.
Wounds. Yeah. So when you take harm, you can choose to mitigate it by taking wounds. Wounds are harder to heal, and whenever they would interfere with your actions, you roll with
which is a big problem when those moves have penalties for rolling low.
When you gotta roll 7 or higher. Yeah. So we have 2 kinds of wounds. We have minor wounds, which are reduce harm by 1. You are confused, bleeding, sprained, bruised, etc. When you take a minor wound, you choose from get infected and mark contamination, or fall back and recuperate, healing 1 harm. Now, this happens during battle. It can happen during battle, which is not good at all. We also have major wounds. Now, major wounds reduce harm by 3. This means your leg is broken, you're blinded, you're absolutely terrified, etc., etc. It is a bad thing to have happen to you. When you have major wounds, you choose from frenzy and get a fleeting advantage. Fleeting advantages only last for a single roll. After that, they
gives you a little bit of a boost.
There are lasting advantages that let you always roll that specific thing with advantage, but this is not that. Or you have play possum. This makes the foe focus on someone else, and you just lay there,
just
playing
lay dead through the whole dang thing.
Stomp on your head. And that's basically wounds and harm in a nutshell.
It's your HP tracking and your resource management.
It's your HP
right?
tracking.
So
yeah. I don't think we wrote it down in here, but there is armor. You can get armor, and it reduces by 1. I think
damage.
if you can mark it off.
There's a lot. Like, do keep in mind we're being a little bit high level because there is a good amount of stuff to cover in this book, right? You're going to want to get a copy of it for yourself to look through the details of it, but that's kind of the gist of it. You've got these actions that you can take, then you've got the ways that you mark off your harm and wounds. Those things affect the way that you play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
If you guys have been listening to us for this long,
you know the gist of it.
If you're new, hi, welcome. Thanks for staying for the last half hour and listening to us babble. Next up, we have covenants. Now, we'll get into the deep, dirty parts of these. These bonds are made with other explorers that take on tangible force within the castle. Stay true to them, and they will be able to help you, even crossing the whole castle to stand by your side and fight. Breaking your promise, and the castle will reward you with a tasty bit of its power.
Yeah, it's important to hold true to your promises and what your word is, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I believe if you because when you reduce a covenant or break a covenant, I think your blood goes up. So then you get
a bit of a boost
from your blood
temporarily,
going up, right? Covenants are made between 2 PCs. When we make our characters, we form a covenant with the character to our left and character to our right. Now, There are examples of covenants, or you can make up your own. We're not going to get into them because there's like 12 of them in the book and they're fairly lengthy. They give you things like I got an example later here. Just hold on a second. So there are certain moves that we can do with our covenants. Now, there's help or hinder. When you help or hinder another player, spend a point of covenant to give them a dice to roll as per advantage, disadvantage. If the dice you gave them is the highest, you get a point back. If it's the lowest, the GM tells you what misfortune you
made a
suffer.
mistake.
Yeah, you made a bad. You have summon aid. When you call on your covenant for help, distant or dead characters can answer. If they do, they appear next to you as a wraith. They can take actions as normal, but they can't take wounds. The first harm weakens them, and the second banishes them, weakening their covenant with you, and they are banished. Not good. Lastly, we have betrayal. Each covenant sets out a way that the bond between you is weakened. Whoever triggers this marks contamination, and the covenant's rating is 1. Now, for example, you're afflicted with the same curse. A, the good thing, when you help the other manage the curse, you strengthen the covenant. Or B, when you willingly embrace the curse's benefit, betray the covenant.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to be pretty clear about what is and isn't.
It has,
going through
devil, angel, weapons.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier.
We got weapons.
Yeah. The weapons are simple, right? We mentioned that earlier, right? And every weapon has a pro and a con, and they're marked as perks and flaws. And you will also potentially find better weapons along your exploration of the castle, right? So those better weapons, they can have many perks, they can have no flaws, maybe they're all flaws. It's kind of a GM decision what you want to do in that space. But page 18 in the book is where you're looking for, and those weapons are things like warhammers, rapiers, flintlocks, a blood whip, which I thought was really cool, or just a good old fashioned bare knuckle boxing. So weapons are cool.
I will say the blood whip is literally a whip made of blood that comes out of you.
Yeah,
that's
you use your blood to whip someone.
You whip people with.
It is a very cool concept. Some of those perks are, for example, Cleave, which slices through many foes in one swing. Hefty, which is knockback. Lingering, which does ongoing damage. Ranged, which will attack anyone in sight. There's a lot of them. There's a whole table's worth of things here. Some of the flaws could be that it needs ammo, which means that if any dice on an attack come up with 1, that weapon's now useless until you get shelter or get R&R. Grazing, it only deals surface harm, and it doesn't actually deal any deep wounds. Or thrown, for example, where once you attack with it, you need to go and recover it. Again, refer to those tables because there's lots in there. They're not the only perks and flaws that exist in the game. Obviously, those are discussions with your GM. You can discuss and figure out how to balance it a little bit more if you want something custom, right? There's lots there, and you're going to want to familiarize yourself with that list because that's going to be an important piece of your equipment as you travel through the space. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on that.
Next up, we have the minions. This is the rank and file of the Regent's minions.
These are your trash monsters.
Skeletons, ghouls, wraiths, beasts. Yeah. And they're quick to place, easy to run, and they're there to hurt the explorer. What's a delve without a little bit of dungeon?
That's right.
Here, right?
Yeah, we have to use our abilities to clear this stuff out. These are the resource clearers, right? Like just like you do in any TTRPG, you're not just going to put a boss monster in a room with nothing around it. That boss monster has its underlings that you've got to deal with in order to get to it. So
yeah, and the book does say to place these in the proper areas for them. Don't have the skeletons in the ballrooms. Don't have the beasts in the barracks. Stuff like that.
Try to be realistic with your pretend
spots.
Game, right?
Yeah. As realistic as you and your table want to be, right? Next up, we have significant foes. Now, these are the boss monsters and the sub-boss monsters, right? They are, if the minions are filler, this one is the whole cake and caboodle. Each one is made up of a description of their actions in the story and a rating of how much harm they deal, and even 3 or more qualities, which are their each. This also includes reactions that are tied to the strengths of the foes themselves. Now, on example on page 19, the surgeon, who is a maniacal medic called to the Regent's service by the castle's siren song. Here she has worked great miracles of medicine to prolong life far beyond any natural limits, and her ambition grows with victims she converts to an orderly. Spooky. She has attendant orderlies, which allows her to mob a character and stab them in the back for 2 harm. She has a paralytic venom, which numbs a limb, stabs them for 1 harm with a needle, and releases poison into them for 3 harm. And she has overdrive serum, which allows her to leap into the rafters in a room and hit with a devastating force of 2 harm. Now, that sounds like a really cool kit, and it is. The cool thing about this stuff is that you don't have to play it so that this foe has all of these at once. The book lays out that you can do it like layers, right? So when the first attendant orderlies are the only attacks they use until they've been dealt 1 blow, and then they do the paralytic venom, and then once they've been harmed again, then they do the overdrive serum, right? And instead of just picking and choosing, they pick what they do. I thought that was really cool that they laid that out for. It's not just the same kind of monster. You can pick and choose.
Exactly, and you can this allows you to kind of customize the bad guy of your story, or the sub boss or the bosses, to better integrate with the storyline that you're creating, right? So the area of that castle, the types of building blocks allow you to customize not only the castle but the people within the castle, and it just gives you that space to move around inside there. So not only are we challenging the players, but we're also leaning into the story that we're creating and weaving at the same time, which I think that is really cool. The blocks to build that significant foe are in here, so you kind of just need to lean into it a little bit, but it doesn't take much, and you're up and running.
Yeah, I will say that they don't list any monsters, so to speak.
No, they just give you the tools to make them.
the parts, and you just throw them together and make
which
them
I
work.
kind of I prefer. I like to see the actual enemies in the book, but I got to tell you, there's a part of me that does prefer the recipe to make it myself.
The building of them. And they do give examples of how they're supposed to work throughout the book too. Yeah, so that's major confrontations. Now, these happen when you come toe to toe with a significant foe. These happen when you come toe to toe with a significant foe. Each successful strike against the enemy strips away one of their qualities. When they run out, they fall down dead. We have a number of options for moves during these fights. Specifically, we have Strike. When you take advantage of an opening. Now, this is the only way to do damage to a foe, striking them. The roll modifier depends on how you're attacking. You roll with iron or glass, whatever.
If you're ever confused, ask the GM.
Now, these are all laid out in the book. It tells you exactly how it's done, and the way that this game plays, you describe how you're doing it, and if it's right, it's right, right? Next up, we have Dodge. This is avoid incoming danger, and this is a roll plus Mercury. We have Line It Up. This is take time to find an opening for the party and act upon it. Roll plus Glass. On a 7 to 9, you pick 2 detriments. On a 10 plus, you pick 1 detriment. Whether that means the enemy focuses on you or other things. There's a list in the whole thing that gives you that list. Confront, you and the foe are nose to nose. Roll iron to create an opening for the rest of the party, but you take the brunt of the foe's attacks from on out. You have stand with me, heal yourself or others, or you aid an ally. This is a roll plus sulfur. And we can use an opening to flee like cowards.
Running away is a legitimate strategy.
But you'll live to fight another day. Now, doing this does advance the Regent's clock by 1. Now, these major confrontations are only for the big boss and their acolytes. Right, the sub bosses.
Yeah, what would be classified in the game as a significant foe.
Yeah.
Right.
So at the end of the battle, everyone still living may raise blood score and add 1 to covenants. The foe's sanctum becomes a place of power, so their ward becomes a place of power. And is usable as a forward base. Now, we will get to the forward bases in a second. Just give us a second. We promise we'll get there. Next up, we have bloodline moves. So this is things that are specific to your bloodline. Now, they're only usable in safe camps, either refuges defined in the castle creation or ones that you've claimed as forward bases. And these are arcane power, or spend a relic to get advantage on a roll. We have rest and relaxation. An explorer provides aid to a character in the camp. A roll plus chalice. The results range from choosing 2 or 3 of the list and consist of things like heal all harm, heal all wounds, form a new covenant, stuff like that. Again, all of these are listed. Next up, we have forward base. This is you claim a stake and you in a place of power and use it as a forward base. You roll plus your sword stat. On a hit, you use it as a forward base for the rest and relaxation and the travel the labyrinth move. On a 10 plus, you get to pick a perk.
Big bonus.
Cool. Yeah. Next up, we have lend aid. Help out another bloodline with a roll there by giving them a die. They roll with advantage. If yours is the highest, you say how you helped and gain 1 pact. If it's the lowest, the GM says how helping
you hug them to death.
You. Yeah, loved them to death. We have resist doom, and this is conduct a grand ritual, spend 1 to 3 relics on and roll plus wands. On a hit, choose one of the list, such as reduce the Regent's clock, bless a weapon, give it the holy perk. And then we have reinforcements. Do research outside the castle, roll plus coins. On a hit, choose 1, and on a 10 plus, choose 2 from the list. These are things like find a relic, learn what the Regent plans next, and which clock segment it's going to trigger on, etc., etc.
So stick with us. We're on the descent here. There's a lot. We said there's a lot in this book, right?
There's a lot of information.
With all of that in mind, the expedition is coming to a close. We're getting to the final battle. The big bad evil guy of this campaign is there, and it's going to come down to one of 3 ways, basically, for us to resolve the end of the game. And that would basically be that the explorers are going to defeat the Regent, and one of them is going to claim the power of the Grail to work a miracle. And then the castle retreats from the world and takes them with it. And then they will return as the new Regent next time it emerges. So one of the heroes is going to say, don't worry, I've got this. And they become the new big bad evil guy for the next time this comes around, which I think that's really cool.
I really like that.
Option 2 is that the explorers can defeat the Regent. No one claims the power of the Grail and the castle retreats from the world. And option 3, the clock can fill before you've done your you're moving and defeating it.
Anything.
And then a number of things take place after that because the dark ritual takes place. Each of those will play out in a different way. The miracles are listed, and anything from immortality to resurrection to wealth and peace and purification, etc. If you leave without claiming the Grail, you're going to pick a choice unlocked by your explorer's blood stat. And there's a list of things with a whole bunch of things in there too. There's again, each one of these has loads of options. You're going to want to go through these tables, right? Especially as a DM, you're going to want to really know all this stuff. And then finally, Darkness Falls. In this case, the bad guy has won. They're going to blight the mortal world, and there's 5 choices here. The usually cursed populations, plagues, endless night, all of the bad things that can take place if the bad guy wins, right? And each person around the table is going to make a choice on how their bloodline is going to respond to that blight, and then they'll adjust their stats. And there's 4 choices here, and that's it. That's once that's completed, the castle, whoop, off it goes, and we're gonna fast forward a bit of time now.
Yeah, I will say that in the Darkness Falls, if all 5 of those choices get checked off, that's it. That's all.
Game's over. Game over. Because she gone. You know, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But basically, once the castle disappears, we're gonna fast forward time 50 to 70 years in the future.
Yeah, till the next generation, and a new blood moon rises, and the castle appears again.
It's time to take another run at it. Button. We just prestiged. Congratulations.
Yeah. That's right.
It's a really cool.
I
like the concept of keeping it going, keeping the game going.
Yeah. Page 56 starts the GM section, which is fairly short, I will say. This is your run-of-the-mill GM advice as per usual. Definitely going to be an area to pay attention to if you're the game's GM. But outside of that, if you've run game before, you'll probably know how to run games. There's a couple specific rule things in here about,
especially if you've run the apocalypse system before, you're really going to be good. We're not talking about a complicated system here, right? There's not a whole lot of rules as far as it goes for operating the game, but there is stuff specific to this game. So take a quick gander through it, but just be ready. There's a lot of the same old for GMs in here.
As well as how to push the narrative with Apocalypse Engine.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with like, here's how the clock works. Make sure your players don't stop playing the game.
That's right. How and it's like jumping from action point to action point. Skip the middle ground because nobody cares about that, right? Page 57 is where the bestiary is and enemy creation steps for your regent and stuff like that. So you want to get in there and take a look-see-poo at there. That makes up the heavy parts of this campaign, right? This is where all the
that's the GM story creation. Right? You're going to need to get all that stuff done in order to play the game. So.
Yeah. Again, there are no actual listed monsters in there. It's just stats and not even stats.
And it should come together pretty easily for you, right? Like if your big bad guy is a Dracula, then you have the myriad of creatures in Dracula's realm to help with. You know what I'm saying? So
that takes us all the way up to the example castle. The game provides as a sample type of thing, and that is on page 62 to help you get a feel for how the castle is built and populated and outfitted and where everything kind of situates. And that's it. That's the end of the book. 62 pages or
64,
8, somewhere around there. It's
64 pages, 64, which there's a lot. There's a short book, but they've sure crammed a ton of information there. Which, hey, look, that's great. Short book with lots of info. It makes it nice and concise, but there's a lot going on in this game. So, we had to we skipped a lot of the details, so you're going to want to get your hands on a copy of this book to make sure you get through some of that.
Which I I would say it would be definitely a pickup because it's
a solid book.
A solid book.
Vinny, we kind of already jumped in.
How are
I
you
was going to
feeling?
ask you. Okay, I'll go. Yeah. So I mean, look, I love the concept of the game itself, right? It's pretty darn close to Castlevania, the anime, the game. You know what I'm saying? So, the concept's really, really cool, and I really like the apocalypse system as well because it's neat and tidy, right? It's very simple, 2d6 plus a number, very basic, and we're not adding any like 30s and 40s and 50s together. We're talking less than 10 being a really high roll kind of idea, right? So
you should be able to count it on two
I
hands,
dig that quite a bit. So the theme's really cool. The artwork in the book is pretty decent. For a 64-page book, they got a decent amount of stuff in there, which I thought that was really cool. I also think that you could get away with getting this game into a group that's pretty green to TTRPGs. It would probably be a good one to like introduce them to the how tabletop gaming works, because it is nice and easy, and with it being story focused, it gives you a whole lot of flexibility that you wouldn't have in other games. So I gotta say, all in all, I like it. I think this one's definitely worth checking out if you're able to do so, and we'll put some links in the description so that you can go and get yourself a copy. But yeah, very cool, very, very, very cool. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I love games that put narrative forward. It's something that I'm terrible at GMing that way, but I love playing this way. Where you roll dice only where risk, not for things like climbing a ladder or things like that. I don't want to roll dice as much as I love rolling dice. I don't want to roll dice unless it's warranted
with
right?
purpose, right?
This game's going to stretch the improv muscle a little bit more than some of our games that we've done, but substantially less than some of the other games that we've done, because it seems like a nice middle of the row kind of thing. The artwork, I really like this artwork. It's got that blocky, almost like League of Legends or WoW kind of theming to it. Not theming, but the art style of it. It's harsh, it's in your face, but it does fit this theme very well. I would say that this is a great thing for people that are a little new to TTRPGs, because it would give them a great baseline for role playing, and that they could take forward into every game from there on out. And they would like to, hopefully they would take that and they would be able to role play more instead of just roll the dice and say my guy hits things.
No, completely agree.
Right? They could pump some personality into their guys. But yeah, all in all,
yeah, I'm
liking it.
It's a very cool game.
I'd like to play it. I would not like to run it because I'm
yeah, you have to have that story-focused mind in order to be able to run the game. But with that being said, a lot of these ones, the apocalypse games and the Blades in the Dark style games too, they're table run more so than GM run, right? The GM is responsible.
Yeah,
you as a GM, you have to create the bad guys for sure, and the populations of the spaces, so like the weapons and the items and all of that stuff that's tucked in there. But a lot of the story, I think, would just come together naturally with the people in the table. You've got to kick them off a little bit, but I think a table would be able to pull that around pretty quick. So
the GM turns the key and drives, and everybody else, or GM turns the key and steers, and everybody else drives.
Kind of thing,
Yeah. No,
I guess that's going to wrap that one up.
That's
it. I guess that's leaves one thing left for us to do in this episode, and that's to take ourselves over into the post-pod.
The post-pod.
Every time it gets a little bit better. That's all I'm going to say. Fiddy, I got this post-pod in here, and I'm wondering.
Okay.
Do you think that alignment systems still work, or are we just pretending and lying to ourselves?
We are 100% pretending.
I agree. Yes.
When there is an alignment system, I do try to use it, and I do try to stick with it. But sometimes my lawful neutral character becomes chaotic stupid out of nowhere.
You're just feeling the chaos. You want to lean into it a bit.
Yeah, I either had a good day at work and I came in feeling goofy and my character got goofy. I
get it, man.
Know. I like, because it's tough because playing the good, lawful good, right?
It's hard.
That is,
it's hard when the rest of the party is not.
Yeah. If you had a whole party of if you had a whole party of lawful good paladins,
what a game!
Snooze. No, it would be good, but it would be. Our games are typically neutral, right? You got the lawful neutral, the chaotic neutral.
The true neutral is probably the hardest one to play of all of the alignments.
Yeah, because you have to be so indifferent sometimes. Yeah. But I have heard that everybody's getting away from the alignment system.
It makes sense.
Which good, because they are outdated. But yeah, I try to make it work, but it doesn't. I always fill out the alignment of my characters, and I rarely stick to them. I don't think the alignment systems work, and I do think that we are pretending. There's times when I'm playing a paladin that's lawful good, I lean into that as hard as I can, but the reality is when you're in a party of 6 people and one of them is lawful good, the likelihood is that they're going to ask the paladin to leave the room. And unless you want to hold the game up for an hour and a half arguing about whether or not it's a good idea to kill this individual, you gotta make a concession, right? And so, which is good.
It kind of is, right? A little bit of that is, but it brings the whole game to a grinding halt. I think there's better ways. Other games have dealt with alignment better. By removing alignment, replacing it with alternative systems, and I think that's the way to go. But it's never, alignment's never been for me because it's too easy. We as people don't fit those alignment charts, right? We as people lean much heavier over into the chaos side of the house or the lawful side of the house than we do into good and evil is something that I think I can get behind, right? I think you need to have a party. You need to have an agreement on whether or not your party is a good party, a neutral party, or an evil party. And that usually is enough to dictate the decisions. But it's the lawful and chaotic that is really hard to play without destroying the table.
Yeah. I will say, we play these games to escape our lives.
Yeah, I don't want to obey the traffic signs in Grand Theft Auto. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Sometimes you just gotta cut loose and be that guy.
but I mean, it's a good opportunity to let us know what you think. If you think that alignment systems are still functional, or maybe you have a new system that you've replaced alignment systems with, and if you do have that information, I'd love it if you let us know, and in either the comments or an email or all the other things, because we want to thank you for listening to this episode. For choosing to stream it or download it or however it is that you got a copy of this. We do appreciate the fact that you are listening to it. And you can find this podcast at places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube at youtube.com/@DadGamingOnline, which is the same location that we stream our Dungeons and Dragons games every single Sunday night. That's also streamed on twitch.tv/DGOnline.
We also have our email that you can reach out to us with. That is mastersofpenandpaper@gmail.com. No symbols, all words. Let us know what you think of the alignment system and what you have done to either make it work for yourself or your table, or what you've done to just throw it out the window and say, hey, we don't need that. We do also have a Discord server, which you can also let us know what that's all about. in there. We have a link in the description about that. We have our own little corner of the internet in there. Not the universe,
it's a little bit of that too, sure.
Universe, probably. We've got a TTRPG section in there that we like to goof off into, talk about games and all sorts of. We get some people throw in their character ideas, bounce off of people in there.
Absolutely. Even if you just want to come and chat with us, give us ideas for new podcasts or games to check out. Absolutely.
The rest of the server's really cool too, but
that's where the cool
TTRPG
kids hang out.
We all stand in the corner and stare at each other and don't say anything. And that's it. That's all, folks. Again, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip flop.
Have a great one.